If you played Elden Ring, there's a high probability that it was actually your first From Software game. So let's use that energy and bring it to your next adventure without picking the wrong one, because there's lots of From Software games that do not work as a game for new players. These are all video games. Why does it have to be so difficult? And the truth of the matter is, if you play the wrong one with the wrong mindset, you're not gonna like any of these games and you might miss out on a really good experience down the road. The best example of this in my experience is when I played Bloodborne for the first time. While Dark Souls 3 was the first Souls-like that I actually completed, Bloodborne was the first one I ever played. When I started playing Bloodborne, I had almost no experience with the Dark Souls or Demon Souls games at all. So my buddy Mark would hop in and start fighting bosses with me, and before I knew it, I was halfway through the game and I had almost no experience points on my own. And it was at that point that I realized I had to stop playing the game and restart if I wanted to enjoy it at all. If it wasn't for streaming on Twitch at the time, I would not have played Bloodborne again. So I'm making this video in an attempt to help you better decide without thinking too hard about it, because I think about this kind of stuff all the time. So this list is a set of games that if you liked Elden Ring, you'll probably like these games as well, and we'll talk about the ways in which you can approach them to set yourself up for success. The first game on this list is Dark Souls 3. Now, it's arguable that this game is the direct follow-up to Elden Ring because Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice was a little less familiar, but it was the game before Elden Ring. Dark Souls 3 is very similar to the way Elden Ring plays. Certain maneuvers you know from Elden Ring are not present, like jumping or guard counters, but the act of singling enemies out is something you're probably very used to by now. The act of making sure that you don't get overwhelmed is a skill you have to grow while you play Elden Ring, and that skill is put to use in Dark Souls 3. One thing about Dark Souls 3 that's very different from Elden Ring, and that's actually true for most of these games, is that exploration isn't nearly as important. There are places to see and things to find, but it's not an open world experience. That being said, as somebody who got a little overwhelmed with all of the things there is to see and find in Elden Ring, it's actually kind of nice to be on a fixed path with bosses in your way. And while the combat's a bit slower in Dark Souls, and while there's a little less flexibility with what your build can be, you really can't spin up a magic build that early in the game, the overall experience will feel like an older version of Elden Ring, and that's not a bad thing. The gameplay is still quite tight. The next game on this list is the Demon Souls remake from 2020. Demon Souls is the first game in the From Software library of games that demand you get good. It was originally on PlayStation 3, and now it's been remade from the ground up by Bluepoint Studios. Demon Souls actually plays quite similarly to Dark Souls 3. There's lots of quality of life updates that they've made to the game that aren't from the PlayStation 3 version. Things that you just wouldn't want to deal with after From Software has sort of fine-tuned what these games are. The thing I like about Demon Souls as your next game after Elden Ring is that it's a very straightforward game. There really is only one path you can travel. The game looks good, it plays really nicely, the challenges are fair, but albeit there are some gimmicks in the game that are easy to figure out, and once you do, it's the kind of boss where you're like, oh, okay, I have to hit him in the knuckles. That's great. Got it. Things that won't particularly beat you up, but if you don't figure them out fast, they will become a bit of a hindrance to your progress. Like I said, this was the first From Software game that was a Souls game, so a lot of the things they learned started here. The things that they used to challenge you as the series progressed started with Demon Souls. And the next game on this list is Bloodborne. It came out in 2015, and before Elden Ring was the game that was bringing in new players, Bloodborne was the game that excited new players to join this adventure of difficult video games by From Software. And a lot of that had to do with how cool this game is. There's parries that are initiated by shotguns and pistol fire. Timing is a big thing in Bloodborne. If you don't get your timing right, you're not going to do well. Weapons turn from canes to threaded whips that have blades on them. I mean, Bloodborne's got a lot going for it thematically alone. That being said, there's a lot of interesting gameplay elements. If you get attacked, you have a chance to do attacks back to your enemy and gain health. And like I mentioned with the threaded cane example, there's a lot of weapons in this game, a lot of things to choose from, and a lot of ways to play. One thing to keep in mind about Bloodborne is that it is considered one of the harder From Software games. As a matter of fact, if I'm remembering this correctly, if you get the Platinum Trophy in Bloodborne, you get an email from Sony that says, congratulations, you got the Platinum Trophy. If my memory serves, I don't think they just send emails for every Platinum Trophy you get, so I think that gives you an idea of how challenging this game can be. There's a lot of endings you can go for, and ultimately, it's a really gratifying experience. A lot of people I know who love Bloodborne don't really seek out the other Souls games, so I think it does have something unique going for it when it comes to approachability. Or it could just be that those people prefer Cthulhu-style enemies to knights and boring dragons and things like that. Now, the last game on this list is sort of an honorable mention, mostly because I love it, but also because it's the most different playstyle out of any of the games we've talked about already, including Elden Ring. And that game game is Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. You could almost consider this the rhythm game of the From Software games. Learning enemy patterns, attacking when you should be attacking, and parrying when you should be parrying is how to succeed at Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. There are certain things you can do to change your playstyle by equipping special moves and different prosthetic arms. These things give you different abilities during fights, but ultimately it's really all about you understanding what the enemy does and what is most effective against them. The reason I enjoyed this game is because I prefer in-your-face combat when it comes to melee fighting games. That's just how I roll, and Sekiro rewards that kind of behavior. You really have to get all up in the enemy's business if you want to take them down faster. Now, a lot of players who enjoyed Elden Ring might not enjoy this playstyle at all. You might have had a magic build and keep yourself at a distance because if enemies hurt you, you might go down pretty quick. And this is why the game belongs in a maybe try this one next list, because on the other hand, it's very fun, very gratifying, very learnable. There's a jump button, which we all love. And not only is there a jump button, but there's also a grappling hook, so the maneuvering in this game is quite cool. So it's got a lot of things going for it as a video game, but if you don't like From Software's challenges, and if you're not really in the mood for a fast-paced, timing-based game, Sekiro's not gonna land well for you. But like I said, it's on this list because I love it, and I think most people would like it too, but I know there's a lot of people who like From Software games a lot, and they don't prefer Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. So even if you don't play one of the games I listed here, let me know in the comments which game you're planning to follow Elden Ring up with. Or I should say, which challenge you're gonna choose, because honestly, if you're gonna play anything after Elden Ring, it should be something very chill and fun. Honestly, Elden Ring, great accomplishment. If you finished it, give yourself a little break and play something you enjoy, and let yourself decompress, come back down, because there's gonna be another challenge. You don't have to rush into it. It's gonna be fine. Good job on finishing Elden Ring. I hope you enjoy your next challenge. I'm really excited to hear about what that is. If you like this video, make sure you like the video. If you really like this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I love talking about video games like this, so if you like hearing about video games in this way, you know, I think it could work out. If you happen to have any ideas for videos that you want me to do, things you want me to cover, let me know in the comments. And other than that, I will see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day.